Good morning, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank our Irish partner in this project who has organized a fantastic two-day partners meeting and also for today's international conference. What I'm going to talk to you, as Professor Saton said, I come from Greece, from the Technological Education Institute of the Ionian Islands, located in the island of Zakynthos. And this work has been done with collaboration with a chemistry teacher who has also a PhD in chemistry education and currently works at the Second Experimental Edition of Athens, Katerina Salta. What I'm going to talk to you about today is preparing and retaining high-quality chemistry teachers in Greece. And the main objective of our work is to explore the links of this specific work, to explore the links between in-service Greek chemistry teachers, the links between their training experiences, their beliefs, and their classroom practices. What has been the inspiration for us to try and explore these links? Recent literature research findings show that pre-service teachers often regard theory and practice to be very inconsistent with each other. It also shows that chemistry teachers tend to teach as they were taught at school and university rather than as they were taught to teach. And also research shows that teachers' beliefs stem from a combination of personal experience, knowledge, and social background. Just a mention to a recent cross-level study on German students' teachers' beliefs about teaching and learning chemistry, which was conducted, involved the university freshmen, student teachers midway through their university teacher education program, and also recently graduated teachers starting to gain experience as full-time teachers, show that the freshmen possess very traditional beliefs about teaching and learning, while the other two groups change gradually their beliefs during their education and they hold more modern beliefs. However, student teachers midway through their training appear to have the most modern teaching beliefs, which means that when they start actually to teach, their beliefs somehow change to a little more traditional. Taking that into account, and also the fact that effective teaching of chemistry is something very complicated and much more than the transmission of chemical knowledge and knowledge of good pedagogy and educational theory, we believe that the findings of this small research we're doing could aid in the design of more effective science teacher training programs in Greece. A little bit about the methodology. We had 15 participants, or one primary school teacher, more specifically one primary school teacher, 9 secondary school chemistry teachers, and 5 scientific experts from 5 different tertiary education institutions. We divided them in 3 groups of 5 persons each. Each group contained at least 1 scientific expert. We engaged them in 3 activities in a workshop. And at the beginning, the participants were given, of each group, were given a specific amount of time to freely interact with the other members of the group and discuss the theme of the specific activity. At the end of this free interaction, a spokesperson from the group was given a maximum of 10 minutes time to explain what happened, the summary of the in-between discussion. And the spokesperson's talks were taped and transcribed. And from the transcription, we did as much detail as possible, content analysis to bring out the teacher's beliefs, etc. The activities contained the following. The first activity was a discussion on teacher training by focusing on 2 main themes: teachers' personal experiences and their opinion about the papers and publications in our project database of chemistry's all-around network. In the second activity, we asked the teachers to exchange experiences and opinions on different teaching approaches and methods of teaching a chemistry subject. So we're interested in their opinions and training on innovative teaching approaches and the actual practices in chemistry classroom and laboratory. And in the third activity, we asked them to make proposals in relation with the content, type of teacher training they would like to have, and who, in their opinion, should have the responsibility for teacher training. Let's move on to some results. So in regard with pre-service training, teachers felt that they received intensive and in-depth academic training in the subject of their specialization. The subject would be chemistry, physics, biology, or chemical engineering, but they received very limited training related to psychology, pedagogy, or chemistry education. In fact, there were very few relevant courses in their curriculum related to these subjects, and they were in the category of elective or elective obligatory in the best case. As a result, they felt that they entered the teaching profession by considering basically their own science teachers as a prototype. In regard with in-service training, our teachers and scientific experts reported both negative and positive experiences. The only obligatory teacher training program had a negative assessment, let's say. They felt that it was not really very useful because too much theoretical information and inconsistent with classroom practices was provided. However, they also assessed 3 optional in-service teacher training initiatives, practical courses organized by regional science laboratory centers, the 2-phase practical training course called ICT in Education, and the program of major training. They felt that all these 3 programs have been useful for their professional development. However, the first 2 did not seem to have clear educational objectives and focus. The 3rd program, the one related with called major training, had, in their opinion, a clear aim and orientation, which was related with the cooperative teaching approach. However, it is still in the phase of development and it has involved very few teachers, science teachers, in the country. In this small table, we can see the extent at which the different dimensions of teaching are covered during preparing and retaining chemistry teachers. During pre-service state training, our teachers feel that they had adequate training in the subject matter dimension of teaching, but while practically absent training in the pedagogical, psychological, social, and ICT dimension. During in-service training, they complained that the training in subject matter has been practically absent, and it has existed, it's existent in the dimension of pedagogical, psychological, social, and ICT is existent, however, inadequate. What has been very interesting that we have been able to identify some factors from the content analysis that have influencing the effectiveness of a teacher training program. Some positive factors that have positive influence are related first with ICT, so learning about the existence of ICT tools, learning about the usefulness of interactive ICT tools, learning how to exploit ICT in the classroom. Another factor is learning about attending live experiments. Also, when the program involves cooperative teaching approach, learning and group management issues, and also when the teaching program has clear educational objectives and focus. However, there are also factors which were identified to have a negative influence on the efficiency and effectiveness of the teacher training programs, like the sporadic nature of these programs, the optional participation, the limited length of the programs, the limited available number of trainees, the lack of active participation of the trainees, the fact that experiments are often presented without the suitable teaching approach, and the fact that often theory is inconsistent with practice. Via the content analysis of our workshop material, we identified also some obstacles that teachers face when they try to implement what they learned during their training. And these are very much related with the Greek educational structure. So 4 obstacles have been identified. The first one is the anchoring of upper secondary education in Greece to the national exams for entering tertiary education institutions, the closed curriculum and student evaluation method which are imposed horizontally in all schools all over the country, the competitive coexistence and conflict between the official school education and the private tutoring system known as frontisterio in Greek, and also the lack of basic equipment from the large majority of science laboratories of public schools. As I told you before, these obstacles are mostly related with structural characteristics of the Greek educational system, and because they exist, even the best teacher training program cannot be easily successfully implemented. Our teachers made some specific proposals on which should be the content of their teacher training. And so they would like to learn more about active learning methods and have practical advice for successful implementation of these methods. They would like their teacher training to be involved with research-based evaluation of ICT use in the teaching process, with pedagogical dimension of teaching based on findings of educational research, how much? 5? Okay. With psychological dimension of teaching. So they would like to know more about developmental psychology focused on adolescents, as well as cognitive psychology, how students learn. They also would like to have more updates on new scientific knowledge, in general current trends in science, and also it's very important for them to be able to be trained on how to transform academic knowledge into school knowledge that can be didactically exploited in a secondary school classroom. Finally, they would like to know more about connections between chemistry and other disciplines, which means interdisciplinary knowledge. In regard with the type of the teacher training program, they would like it to be continuous and systematically organized with a constant rate, preferably not done in parallel with work. They made specific mention to the phenomenon of professional burnout, which is very common among the teaching profession, and to the possibility for long-term leave of absence from the teachers in order to be able to attend teacher training programs. On who should have the responsibility for teacher training, they believe that it's not necessary to create a separate institution or organization to have the responsibility, while an active collaboration and commitment between already existing structures, as also suggested in the literature, should be preferable. Finally, we try to make a comparison of what our content analysis of the workshop material showed, of what our chemistry teachers thought was important in relation with what has been found important for the effectiveness of a teacher training program in another cultural context, like the American one. And we found some common things, which is not surprising. So the common things we found is that our teachers also believe that the duration of the teacher training program is important. The in-service training on academic subject matter, the update on new scientific knowledge, is important. The possibility for active learning, and also the overall coherence of the training program, which is related with the fact that theory is often inconsistent with practice and there is no internal coherence in the training program. In this way, we believe that this small case study analysis we've done indicates that by exploring the actual classroom practices, beliefs and experiences of in-service chemistry teachers could actually help towards the design of a teacher training program which will have realistic aims and maximal impact on the trainees. I would like to acknowledge our workshop participants, my colleague Katerina Salta, who is an expert in the field, and of course the European Union for financial support, and last but not least, you for your attention. Thank you.